Hey, Tom Hegna here, retirement income expert, written 5 books on retirement, have a PBS TV special played in over 80 million homes called Don't Worry, Retire Happy. I want to talk about sequence of returns risk. It's one of the biggest risks in retirement. For decades, I've been saying that sequence of returns risk is likely to wipe out the retirements of tens of millions of Americans, and most people don't even know what it is. So let me try to explain what it is, and then I'm going to try to explain to you why even smart people still don't get it. All sequence of returns risk means is that once you retire, average returns mean nothing. Now, why is that important? Well, because your whole life as a saver and investor, average returns meant everything. I mean, if you could get 6% is better than 4. If you can get 10% is better than 6. So our whole time growing up as a saver and investor, average returns matter. But the day you retire, average returns mean nothing. You could average over 10% a year for 20 years and only take out 5% and go dead broke just like that. In fact, if you look on the screen there, that orange box averaged over 10%, and yet the person ran out of money in their 80s. The blue box, they earned a little less on average, 9.6, but they became very wealthy. And the reason is, if you lose money early in retirement, it can devastate your entire retirement. So let me explain to you why even really smart people don't get it. They say things like this to me. They say, Tom, markets go up and down, but over time they always go up. Well, hey, that's great if you're in your 20s and 30s. You can close your eyes. You can dollar cost average in the stock market. You wake up on your 65th birthday, you're rich. It works. It doesn't work if you're in your 50s, 60s, and 70s. But do you know why? It's because it is no longer dollar cost averaging. It is now dollar cost ravaging. Let's say you don't believe me. Let's say you got a portfolio and you're just going to take money out of that portfolio. That will work as long as the market's going up. But as soon as the market starts going down, guess what you have to do? You have to take out more and more and more. And when the market goes back up, none of that grows back because you just took it out and spent it. And then the market goes down, you got to take out more and more and more. When the market goes back up, none of that grows back because you just took it out and spent it. And all it takes is a couple of those dips early in retirement, and the portfolio can enter a death spiral it will never come out of. The other reason smart people don't get is they say things like this to me. They say, well, Tom, I don't panic. I don't sell. I just wait it out. It always comes back. Hey, does anybody remember Japan in the 1980s? There's a couple companies called Honda and Toyota. The Japanese stock market was going up for an entire decade, just like what we saw in the last decade. Japan bought Pebble Beach. They bought Rockefeller Center. Time magazine said Japan is taking over the world. Does anybody remember Japan in the 1980s? Well, think about that poor Japanese guy, 65 years of age. He was taught the same things you were. Markets go up and down, but over time they always go up. He had the diversified portfolio. He had the best broker in Tokyo. He retired. In 1989, the Japanese stock market crashed. Are you aware of how long the Japanese stock market has been down? Over 30 years. The guy's 95. Market never came back. Hey, let me ask you a question. How do you think his retirement went? I got news for you. He never made it to 95. He dropped dead by age 70 from the stress of losing that money. The Japanese stock market has been down for over 30 years. The European stock market has been down for over 20 years. I'm telling you, Americans have no idea how far the market can fall and how long it can stay down, and a fixed indexed annuity can take those worries right away from you. So let me go into these two boxes a little bit. The orange box is Mr. Smith. He's got $100,000 in a 60-40 portfolio. He's taking up $5,000 a year. He averaged 10-point-something% over 25 years. But look, he ran out of money in his mid-80s. Miss Jones, on the other hand, she also had $100,000, 60-40 portfolio, taking up $5,000 a year. She averaged less, 9.6. But look, she not only got all of her income, but her principal was growing as well. And this has everything to do with this sequence of returns risk.